Welcome to our video series, Conceptual Relationships of Words in the English Language. In this series, we present English vocabulary in a structured and hierarchical manner. Each video showcases a range of terms and their corresponding definitions, presented in an organized sequence from broader concepts to more specific details. The series is divided into playlists, videos, and sections, each delving into distinct aspects of the English language. To get the most out of these videos, here are some of the suggested uses. We will be using WordNet as our primary reference throughout the series. For detailed information about WordNet, please visit the official WordNet website. If you're new to our channel, we recommend starting with our introductory videos. They provide essential context for understanding our approach, purpose, and methodology. For simpler navigation, we presented an outline of the terms and relationships in one of these introductory videos. Remember to show your support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. In this episode, we will explore amorphous shape. It includes shape-related words such as shapeless, space, angle, opening, and others. This video is part of the playlist attribute. Attribute playlist is one of two playlists devoted for the conceptual domain attribute. Attributes are linguistic elements that serve as modifiers to provide descriptive information about another word. They convey qualities, characteristics, or properties associated with the entities they modify, enriching the meaning and context of the expression. Section 1. In this section we will explore some amorphous shapes such as blob, shapelessness, and space.
Shape. Shape.
The spatial arrangement of something is distinct from its substance.
Geometry is the mathematical science of shape.
Amorphous shape. Amorphous shape.
An ill-defined or arbitrary shape.
Blob. Blob.
An indistinct shapeless form.
Shapelessness. Shapelessness.
An amorphous or indefinite shape.
A shapeless mass.
Space. Space.
An empty area, usually bounded in some way between things.
The architect left space in front of the building.
Cavity. Cavity.
Space that is surrounded by something.
Hollow. Hollow.
A cavity or space in something.
Hunger had caused the hollows in their cheeks.
Pouch. Pouch.
An enclosed space.
The trapped miners found a pocket of air.
Compartment. Compartment.
A space into which an area is subdivided.
Cell. Cell.
Any small compartment.
The cells of a honeycomb.
Cubby hole. Cubby hole.
A small compartment.
Post office box. Post office box.
A numbered compartment in a post office where mail is put to be called for.
Crenel. Crenel.
A notch or open space between two merlons in a crenellated battlement.
Enclosure. Enclosure.
A naturally enclosed space.
Cavern. Cavern.
Any large dark enclosed space.
His eyes were dark caverns.
Matrix. Matrix.
An enclosure within which something originates or develops, from the Latin for womb.
Expanse. Expanse.
A wide and open space or area as of surface or land or sky.
Sheet. Sheet.
Any broad thin expanse or surface.
A sheet of ice.
Stretch. Stretch.
A large and unbroken expanse or distance.
A stretch of clear water.
Slack. Slack.
A stretch of water without current or movement.
Suddenly they were in a slack and the water was motionless.
Hole. Hole.
An unoccupied space.
Pore. Pore.
Any tiny hole admitting passage of a liquid, fluid or gas.
Pleural space. Pleural space.
The small potential space between the parietal and visceral layers of the pleura.
Pocket. Pocket.
Bowling, the space between the headpin and the pins behind it on the right or left.
The ball hit the pocket and gave him a perfect strike.
Subarachnoid space. Subarachnoid space.
A space in the meninges beneath the arachnoid membrane and above the pia mater that contains the cerebrospinal fluid.
Swath. Swath.
The space created by the swing of a scythe or the cut of a mowing machine.
Void. Void.
An empty area or space.
Without their support he'll be ruling in a vacuum.
Section 2. In this section we will explore angle.
Angle. Angle.
The space between two lines or planes that intersect, the inclination of one line to another, measured in degrees or radians.
Angle of extinction. Angle of extinction.
The angle from its axis that a crystal must be rotated before appearing maximally dark when viewed in polarized light.
Angle of incidence. Angle of incidence.
The angle that a line makes with a line perpendicular to the surface at the point of incidence.
Angle of attack. Angle of attack.
The acute angle between the direction of the undisturbed relative wind and the chord of an airfoil.
Critical angle. Critical angle.
The smallest angle of incidence for which light is totally reflected.
Angle of reflection. Angle of reflection.
The angle between a reflected ray and a line perpendicular to the reflecting surface at the point of incidence.
Angle of refraction. Angle of refraction.
The angle between a refracted ray and a line perpendicular to the surface between the two media at the point of refraction.
Angular distance. Angular distance.
The angular separation between two objects is perceived by an observer.
He recorded angular distances between the stars.
Declination. Declination.
Astronomy, the angular distance of a celestial body north or to the south of the celestial equator, expressed in degrees, used with right ascension to specify positions on the celestial sphere.
Hour angle. Hour angle.
Astronomy, the angular distance of a celestial point measured westward along the celestial equator from the zenith crossing, the right ascension for an observer at a particular location and time of day.
Latitude. Latitude.
The angular distance between an imaginary line around a heavenly body parallel to its equator and the equator itself.
Longitude. Longitude.
The angular distance between a point on any meridian and the prime meridian at Greenwich.
Right ascension. Right ascension.
Astronomy, the equatorial coordinates specifying the angle, measured eastward along the celestial equator, from the vernal equinox to the intersection of the hour circle, that passes through an object in the sky, usually expressed in hours and minutes and seconds, used with declination to specify positions on the celestial sphere.
One hour of right ascension equals 15 degrees.
True anomaly. True anomaly.
The angular distance of a point in an orbit past the point of periapsis measured in degrees.
Axial. Axial.
The upper angle between an axis and an offshoot, such as a branch or leaf stalk.
Azimuth. Azimuth.
The azimuth of a celestial body is the angle between the vertical plane containing it and the plane of the meridian.
Complementary angles. Complementary angles.
Two angles whose sum is a right angle.
Crotch. Crotch.
The angle formed by the inner sides of the legs where they join the human trunk.
Cutting angle. Cutting angle.
The angle between the face of a cutting tool and the surface of the work.
Dip. Dip.
Physics, the angle that a magnetic needle makes with the plane of the horizon.
Dogleg. Dogleg.
Angle that resembles the hind leg of a dog.
Exterior angle. Exterior angle.
The supplement of an interior angle of a polygon.
Hip. Hip.
Architecture, the exterior angle formed by the junction of a sloping side and a sloping end of a roof.
Face angle. Face angle.
The angle formed by two edges of a polyhedral angle.
Helix angle. Helix angle.
The constant angle at which a helix cuts the elements of a cylinder or cone.
Inclination. Inclination.
Astronomy, the angle between the plane of the orbit and the plane of the ecliptic stated in degrees.
Inclination. Inclination.
Geometry: the angle formed by the x-axis and a given line, measured counterclockwise from the positive half of the x-axis.
Interior angle. Interior angle.
The angle inside two adjacent sides of a polygon.
Reentrant angle. Reentrant angle.
An interior angle of a polygon that is greater than 180 degrees.
Lead. Lead.
The angle between the direction a gun is aimed and the position of a moving target, correcting for the flight time of the missile.
Magnetic declination. Magnetic declination.
The angle, at a particular location, between magnetic north and true north.
Oblique angle. Oblique angle.
An angle that is not a right angle or a multiple of a right angle.
Acute angle. Acute angle.
An angle less than 90 degrees but more than 0 degrees.
Obtuse angle. Obtuse angle.
An angle between 90 and 180 degrees.
Paragon. Paragon.
An angle of 360 degrees.
Plane angle. Plane angle.
An angle formed by two straight lines in the same plane.
Polyhedral angle. Polyhedral angle.
The space enclosed by three or more planes that intersect in a vertex.
Reflex angle. Reflex angle.
An angle greater than 180 degrees, but less than 360.
Right angle. Right angle.
The 90-degree angle between two perpendicular lines.
Salient angle. Salient angle.
An angle pointing outward, an interior angle of a polygon that is less than 180 degrees.
Solid angle. Solid angle.
An angle formed by three or more planes intersecting at a common point, the vertex.
Spherical angle. Spherical angle.
An angle formed at the intersection of the arcs of two great circles.
Tilt angle. Tilt angle.
The angle a rocket makes with the vertical as it curves along its trajectory.
Vertical angle. Vertical angle.
Either of two equal and opposite angles formed by the intersection of two straight lines.
View angle. View angle.
The angle included by a photographic lens.
Wave angle. Wave angle.
The angle of arrival or departure of a radio wave with respect to the axis of an antenna ray.
Section 3. In this section we will explore opening.
Opening. Opening.
An open or empty space in or between things.
There was a small opening between the trees.
Breach. Breach.
An opening, especially a gap in a dike or fortification.
Chasm. Chasm.
A deep opening in the Earth's surface.
Abyss. Abyss.
A bottomless gulf or pit, any unfathomable or apparently unfathomable cavity or chasm or void extending below, often used figuratively.
Gulf. Gulf.
A deep, wide chasm.
Crack. Crack.
A long, narrow opening.
Chap. Chap.
A crack in a lip caused usually by cold.
Chink. Chink.
A narrow opening as e.g. between planks in a wall.
Crevasse. Crevasse.
A deep fissure.
Fatigue crack. Fatigue crack.
A crack in metal resulting from metal fatigue.
Fault. Fault.
Geology, a crack in the Earth's crust resulting from the displacement of one side with respect to the other.
He studied the faulting of the Earth's crust.
Inclined fault. Inclined fault.
A geological fault in which one side is above the other.
Normal fault. Normal fault.
An inclined fault in which the hanging wall appears to have slipped downward relative to the footwall.
Thrust fault. Thrust fault.
A geological fault in which the upper side appears to have been pushed upward by compression.
Strike-slip fault. Strike-slip fault.
A geological fault in which one of the adjacent surfaces appears to have moved horizontally.
Rift. Rift.
A narrow fissure in rock.
Slit. Slit.
A narrow fissure.
Split. Split.
A lengthwise crack in wood.
He inserted the wedge into a split in the log.
Vent. Vent.
A fissure in the Earth's crust, or in the surface of some other planet, through which molten lava and gases erupt.
Diastema. Diastema.
A gap or vacant space between two teeth.
Foramen. Foramen.
A natural opening or perforation through a bone or a membranous structure.
Foramen magnum. Foramen magnum.
The large opening at the base of the cranium, through which the spinal cord passes.
Interventricular foramen. Interventricular foramen.
The small opening, on both the right and left sides, that connects the third ventricle in the diencephalon with the lateral ventricle in the cerebral hemisphere.
Hole. Hole.
An opening into or through something.
Aperture. Aperture.
A natural opening in something.
Micropyle. Micropyle.
Minute opening in the wall of an ovule through which the pollen tube enters.
Pupil. Pupil.
The contractile aperture in the center of the iris of the eye resembles a large black dot.
Stoma. Stoma.
A minute epidermal pore in a leaf or stem through which gases and water vapor can pass.
Germ pore. Germ pore.
A pore in the outer wall of a spore or pollen grain, through which the germ tube or pollen tube makes its exit on germination.
Hydathode. Hydathode.
A pore that exudes water on the surface or margin of a leaf of higher plants.
Lenticel. Lenticel.
One of many raised pores on the stems of woody plants that allow the interchange of gas between the atmosphere and the interior tissue.
Bolt hole. Bolt hole.
A hole through which an animal may bolt when pursued into its burrow or den.
Bullet hole. Bullet hole.
A hole made by a bullet passing through it.
Cranny. Cranny.
A small opening or crevice, especially in a rock face or wall.
Knot hole. Knot hole.
A hole in a board where a knot came out.
Leak. Leak.
An accidental hole that allows something, fluid or light, etc., to enter or escape.
One of the tires developed a leak.
Ozone hole. Ozone hole.
An area of the ozone layer, near the poles, that is seasonally depleted of ozone.
Perforation. Perforation.
A hole made in something.
A perforation of the eardrum.
Rat hole. Rat hole.
A hole, as in the wall of a building, made by rats.
Mouth. Mouth.
An opening that resembles a mouth, as of a cave or a gorge.
They built a fire at the mouth of the cave.
Pocket. Pocket.
An opening at the corner or on the side of a billiard table into which billiard balls are struck.
Corner pocket. Corner pocket.
A pocket at the corner of a billiard table.
Side pocket. Side pocket.
A pocket on the side of a billiard table.
Ranvier's nodes. Ranvier's nodes.
Small gaps in the myelin sheath of metallated axons.
Rift. Rift.
A gap between cloud masses.
The sun shone through a rift in the clouds.
Rip. Rip.
An opening made forcibly as by pulling apart.
She had snags in her stockings.
Window. Window.
An opening that resembles a window in appearance or function.
He could see them through a window in the trees.
End of episode. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. In the next episode, we will present attribution.